Sometimes you have a bold vision. I mean, as CEOs, we're expected to have a vision, and we have a pretty good one. It's about being most, we want to be the most relevant, most played, most loved music brands. And, our starting point is pretty good, but we think we have an opportunity for the future too. And then when we started thinking about the Gibson Garage, like, but a place where, it's a store, but no, it's an experience. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means live, it means artists, it means engagement, it means you can try things, you can shop, and even if you're not a guitarist, you'll find something cool. And then we started thinking about, okay, we'll call it the garage, and then we'll have these sheds, and we literally were like playing around like that, like architects. And then we started to see some of the renderings, and I was like, man, if this place is half as cool as the renderings, it's gonna be pretty cool. And now, I think it's twice as cool as the renderings.
Just the whole space, the vibe, the brick walls, the history of the building.
I know.
It all lends to the whole, heritage of this.
I know. You come in, and someone said, oh, the guitars on that conveyor belt, where's that from? If you go to our crafteries where we make our guitars, that's how we dry and cure the lacquer and the nitrocellulose. So they go up in a high bay on a road. So we got the inspiration from ourselves, not from the dry cleaner, from ourselves with the guitars. And then and we even brought Mesa Boogie. You probably saw Mesa Boogie with the amps. We brought that into our family in December, and it just looks natural here.
Yeah.
And then to see this place, like you're seeing that this is the busiest it's been with artists and music and guitars, and we're like, wasn't that the culture we all talk about?
Right.
And people can either, they can talk about the motions of culture, or you can put the culture in motion, and I think that's what we're doing.
It's really, we just call it the Gibson experience. It really is. Experience for, it's an experience for me to be here.
Yeah.
But can you imagine a Gibson? My husband's going to want to come.
No, totally. Well, we were just, I was just talking to some artists, and they said, JC, like, what do you hope beyond the obvious? I said, well, I hope like a kid who comes in here who's 14 years old and is blown away and is allowed to try a Gibson. Maybe it's not his time to buy it, but you know what? He'll be back in 10 years and go, hey mister, I was here when I was 14, I'm now 24, I've graduated, and my first paycheck, I came right here and got a Gibson guitar. I'm like, that's the story. And it's going to happen. So, no, we're really excited, and it's again a chance to explore and to play and to shop, but it's also Nashville. And I think, I don't know, to be fair, we planned this, or we started the planning and the envisioning before COVID, and then everyone said, oh, I guess with COVID the whole thing's off, and I was like, hold on. The first part of COVID was challenged. I'll admit, 1 year ago, our crafteries were shut down. Most dealers were shut. You guys know that.
Right. Yep.
And there were way more questions than answers. And then we said, wait a second, let's plan for significant impact for our business, for our team. Most importantly, let's keep it safe. Like, imagine that. Like, just keep everyone safe. And I remember when Nashville shut down, I think it was March 18th, that Monday, I just said, pay everyone $1,000 because I don't know how this is going to end. So we gave everyone our crafties $1,000 before anyone. And then a few weeks later, we figured out some protocols, some testing, and when all that, masks. And once we got through that, there was this sort of COVID crisis to COVID creative moment where people were like, we got time, we want to learn guitar, we want to play guitar, we wanted the wish list on our guitar, and we got time to create and record and to play and to try. And so all of a sudden, guitar just went like that, and we're like, oh, it's back. And then we never stopped this. And so I'm like, thank God. And now we said, plan for impact, prepare for opportunity. Well, the impact was keeping the team safe and the business intact. And then the opportunity was keep building this, keep moving into our headquarters, keep working with artists, keep doing Gibson TV, launch the Gibson app, and then now bring Gibson Garage to life. And we're here, we're almost there.
Right when everything started reopening.
I know, well, we timed it, like, we've had it ready for about a month or two, and I just said, team, let's not rush it. Like, we've been around for 127 years. This is going to be around for a long time. A few months just might make the difference of people feeling comfortable coming in. And you can feel it already in Nashville. The difference a few weeks makes. You been on Broadway lately?
No.
It's the roaring 2021s.
Really?
Oh yeah. For the right reasons. Live music, people are respectful, but it's coming back.
Well, I came into town when I was doing the Nashville edition. We went to Fanny Sounds of Music to interview them.
Yep.
And then I went around. I actually drove by here trying to see if I could see the office. And and the restaurants had just started opening back up. Just a few things were on Broadway. But we did find a restaurant. They said we just started serving again. Yeah,
I know.
So we worked at the time was good, but still it was like a ghost town.
Well, I was out a week ago, last Thursday, and I went down there, and I love Broadway. I don't hang out there too much, but when I go, I'm up for a good time. It was on. And then the restaurants and the vibe, and again, people are being respectful, but like, it's time for music, it's time for live, it's time for artists to say, I've got all this creative bank, and I long to connect with fans again, and it's awesome to see.
You know, we've had so many people that we have interviewed that everyone's writing.
Totally.
And they're all ready to release albums, you know, and they're all like, ready to get back on the road and tour again. So, yeah.
You know what else? They've been writing creative, but they've also, I think, everyone's understood the power of the technology. And when I say technology, it could just be a big screen at your house and some speaker. Like, all of a sudden, the notion of live streaming, people are like, oh, live streaming's not the same as being there. Well, guess what? 80,000 people go to the Super Bowl, 100 million people watch it. So why can't that happen for music? And so I think what you're going to see is that the quality of the experience is going to matter for those that go, and have a good quality. And then for those that can't attend or want to be part of it, they've now invested in the big screen TV and the speakers, and now there's all these platforms of like fans.live. You go on, you can get your seat, you can see yourself next to the stage. It's unbelievable. Michael Franti does this. I don't know if you know Michael Franti, amazing artist, good friend of mine. And he's been stuck in Bali for a year, and he just said, I'm staying there. And he does these live streams, and he sends people like, I'm a soul rocker, t-shirts for 50 bucks, for 100 you can go backstage, for 200 you can have a drink with them, all virtual. And it's like, you sit there, and what you do is you get a group of friends who love Franti, y'all get your shirts and your Franti gear on, and as he's playing his concert, your camera's on, and you're in the concert with him.
Oh my God.
And he's like, what up? He's like, what's up, JC in Nashville? What's up, Nashville? And you're like, he would never say that at a concert. So
yeah, no, I think it's going to change.
It's good, I think it's good.
It's evolved. The experience has evolved.
And even the recording process for people.
Recording, and who would have thought, like, a year ago, TikTok was a novelty, deal. Now it's launching artists. Olivio Rodrigo, discovered on TikTok, is now one of the leading young female artists. If you don't know her, check her out. And check her story out. And she gives more than hope. She gives inspiration, she gives hope, she gives energy, and she gives ideas to not just women and girls, but to all of us. She's like 15, 16 years old. And then of course everyone's like, oh, TikTok, Olivia. We're like, guess what? We've been working with her for a while. She's got an Epiphone Muse and she loves it, and we're supporting her. You got to follow her story. It's a TikTok meets talent meets support meets dream story. It's an amazing story. But it's like
they're big TikTok.
No, I mean it's on right now, and then of course we talk with TikTok, and what do they want? They want authenticity, access to artists, and we want a modern digital platform that's connecting with the next generation. It's pretty cool, and there's more out there,
Gibson Foundation.
Yeah,
Gibson
sure.
Gifts.
Yeah,
what you guys have done.
Absolutely.
Your first goal you had.
Yeah.
You far exceeded it.
But we did, and those goals that you exceed, you're like, whoa, I never saw that one coming. But it was almost 2 years ago at Summer NAMM 2019. The foundation, and sometimes over time foundations lose focus, and you end up doing a little for a lot of causes that aren't impactful, and I wouldn't say they're meaningless, but like you just spread yourself too thin. And certainly in the past, that was the challenge here. So when I got here, everyone's like, well, are we still going to do that? I said, no, you know what? We're going to be, if it's not music centric, we're not going to support, and by the way, there's amazing causes. We just have to focus on music. And so we had a simple mission to say, let's give the gift of music one guitar at a time. And in the next 1,000 days, we're going to give a guitar a day away, and we'll give 1,000 guitars in 1,000 days, which just sounded simple. Well, who saw the tornado coming?
I was going to ask that next. Yeah.
So I wake up and I see this picture of a broken guitar amongst the rubble. I'm like, holy, like people, artists and amateurs lost their guitar, within 30 minutes I called Dendy. Hey Dendy, was it 8 a.m. the day after the tornado that we decided to give guitars away? 8 a.m. or 8:30? Yeah. So at 8 a.m. we're looking at the newspaper. We woke up and said, Nashville needs help. When what we could do was we could provide guitars to those that lost it. And we sent out a message, if you lost your guitar in the tornado, and people really did, a couple hundred people, we set it up over USA and we put guitars back in people's hands. And not just Gibsons, if you lost your guitar in the tornado. So we didn't see that coming. And then we didn't see clearly COVID coming. We didn't see other challenging situations coming. So, and by the way, they're not all negative. Some are positive, like School of Rock, like Music Cares, like where they're supporting artists, or Little Kids Rock, And so we were able to take this small starting point of 1,000 guitars in 1,000 days, and Dendy comes to me and says, hey JC, great news. I'm like, what's the great news? He goes, we've done like 1,000 guitars in half the time, and we're on track to do 2,000 guitars. And I'm like, is that good or bad? Like, where are we going to get another 1,000 guitars? And Denny's like, I'll get them. And I'm like, find them and we're good. And so we did, and we're way ahead of plan. But more importantly, ahead of plan getting guitars, is that we've reconnected with the music community in a way that isn't just, hey, in the future we'll do something. It's today we can do something now. And this is, Dendy heads up the Gibson Gives whole foundation program. And we now have amazing connections and networks with around the world, by the way. We're about to go global with it. And so Gibson Gives is no longer just a one guitar a day. It's a movement that has been supported by artists, by the industry. And here we are in Nashville, Music City, USA, saying not only is Gibson back, but Gibson's giving in ways that we've never given before. And that's a source of pride for all of us.
Right. Now, you also have your Gibson G3 program.
Yeah.
That we did a feature on with all the young females in the program.
That's awesome. And that's only going to go from strength to strength. And G3 is the Gibson Generation Group. And it started with just a couple of kids, and then all of a sudden kids found out about it. They'd send us their, part of the funnest weekends I have, and I travel a lot, and I'll be on a plane and I'll be just, and some people are doing work and some people are watching Netflix. I'm watching the G3 videos from kids in Europe and in Asia and Latin America, and it's their big moment to present, and they have no idea that the CEO of Gibson is looking at this, and I'm energized because I got 3 kids, and sometimes I'm cheering them on and I'm crying, and people are like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, this girl just wrote this song from Spain, and I'm like, so it's awesome. G3's awesome, and it's only going to go from strength to strength as we now have Gibson Gives, we've got G3. You know what? We've got artists that want to support the next generation. So we're going to mentor, we're going to set them up as mentors for the G3, and all of a sudden it's another whole movement that didn't even exist 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
And you do a lot with Lzzy Hale.
Lzzy,
I understand she was just here the other day.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
She is.
I actually had gotten awarded the She Rock.
You did, of course you did. Yeah.
Dreaming Out Loud award.
Yeah, but you remember that. She's so awesomely intimidating as a rocker. Forget that she's female, she's just she's awesome, but she's a little intimidating. I'm like, oh my God, it's Lzzy Hale. And then I meet her and I'm like, okay, come on, she's awesome. And she represents everything that is about empowerment, honesty, and also this energy, And when you bring that together, the world needs more of Lzzy Hale. Really.
Now what about your new signature guitar with Orianthi?
That is awesome too. I had a chance to see her on stage with Richie Sambora, I want to say, and I'm like, who's this cranking with Richie? You get up with Richie, you better know what you're doing. She held her own, and then all of a sudden, I'm hearing the team going, hey, we're working with Orianthi, we got this really cool guitar, we're doing signatures. I'm like, let me see that. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the come on. The attitude behind that guitar, the essence of who she is came together through that guitar, and vice versa. That's exciting. Really excited.
She actually interviewed her
A couple weeks ago.
a couple of weeks over phone about the guitar.
And?
So
She's amazing.
Right?
I've talked to her a couple of times. She's just the coolest person.
And she's humble too. Like I'm thinking she's going to be this like, and then she's just so.
We got
like,
talking about crystals and meditation,
Totally.
and I was like, dude, that was right up my alley, man.
Totally.
She's just so cool.
She's
so
awesome.
cool.
I interviewed her. We've interviewed her now a couple of times, and I was at the PRS room with her. Sweet as can be, you know, always
So down to
through
earth.
it.
So down to earth.
Right.
Well, and then
so
we.
you've got a good grip.
Well, go Emily Wolfe.
Well, you know, she was on the cover.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, she's rocking it, and like,
Saw her guitar.
I think I'm gonna say, she's, again, forget male, female, gender. Like, I think she's one of our youngest ever signature guitarists.
Really?
Yep. And
Well, we're
deserve
working with
it.
Lzzy on her new, interviewing her for the new one.
Awesome. That's awesome.
My band opened for Emily, and I was just like, hey girl, damn, she rails.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we
I
got.
don't know if you know that she was, back in the day, I have to tell everybody that, the Gibson SG girl.
They had like a performance competition, like, God, like a million years ago. And I won.
And you won it?
Yeah.
Where was that?
It was based in Nashville.
Yeah.
I guess, but we submitted a video and
That
people
is
voted
cool.
on it. And I got an SG, but I'm lefty, and they didn't have lefty SGs. Right? Hey,
Because I'm a lefty. I don't play left, and the reason I don't, I do everything left-handed. I write, I friggin' everything. I golf, everything's lefty for me, except guitar.
Well, see, Orianthi told me she was started lefty. I just told her I'm lefty. She goes, and her dad was like, "Don't do it, don't do it," and she
No, I know.
switched. But she said she started playing lefty.
We had my mom. I grew up. My mom. I'm going to show you a picture of my mom. People say, "Well, how'd you get into this whole, how's the Levi's guy, whatever guy?"
Right.
Yeah.
Because of Nancy Curleigh. She was like in the Joan Baez era of wearing Levi's, playing her Epiphone, and I'm like, I want to be like my mom. And my dad's a badass too, but like, there's Nancy in 1969.
Oh my
Rocking her
God.
Levi's. How cool is that?
That's your mom?
Yeah, in 1969. And so that was my story, getting her so through my mom. And we always she had an Epiphone guitar in the house, and because it was strung that way, I played right-handed, so I don't have to search for lefties. But I'm excited about what's going on here, and we're excited, and we're glad you guys are excited. Thanks for everything you guys do. Awesome. You guys sticking around for some music?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna be here.
Thank you so much, JC. Thank you.